Let's talk about something that might sound a little backwards. What if a nutrient that we're often told is essential, a core building block of life, could actually be acting as a superfuel for one of the most lethal types of cancer? Today, we are digging into some really fascinating and, frankly, counterintuitive new research on the hidden link between dietary protein and liver cancer. For years, scientists have been looking at this classic chicken or the egg problem. They've consistently found this specific toxic chemical in patients with liver cancer. But the question has always been, was the toxin just a byproduct of a failing liver, a symptom of the disease? Or was it something way more sinister, an active driver of the cancer's growth? That's the mystery we're going to unpack. To really get why solving this puzzle is so critical, we first need to understand the reality of liver cancer. It's an incredibly tough disease, and its impact is growing. So any new insight into how it works, into what makes it tick, is a really big deal.
Just look at this number, 22%. That's the 5-year survival rate for liver cancer. It's a stark figure that makes it one of the deadliest forms of cancer out there, and it really highlights why we urgently need new ways to both prevent and treat it.
And you might think this is a rare issue, but it's really not. Conditions like fatty liver disease, which can set the stage for cancer down the road, affect a huge number of people, about 1 in 4 adults in the US alone. So this whole question of what fuels liver cancer is deeply relevant to millions. All right, so to get to the bottom of our mystery chemical, we first need to understand what the liver's day job actually is. The best way to think about a healthy liver is as this highly efficient, really sophisticated waste processing plant, especially when it comes to dealing with protein. And that brings us to our chemical culprit, ammonia. See, every time you eat protein, doesn't matter if it's from a steak or beans or a protein shake, your body breaks it down. And in that process, a toxic waste product gets created, ammonia. In high amounts, it's pretty harmful to your system. Now, in a healthy body, this process is seamless. You eat protein, your body uses what it needs and makes ammonia as waste. That ammonia then heads to the liver, which, like that efficient processing plant, quickly converts the toxic stuff into a safe compound called urea. Then the urea just goes to the kidneys and gets flushed right out of your body. It's clean, simple, and safe. But what happens when the processing plant is damaged? When the liver is impaired by disease, it just can't do this crucial conversion effectively. The filter fails, and that toxic ammonia starts to build up in the body. And this is where our decades-old mystery really starts. As the lead researcher Weizing Zhang points out, this isn't some brand new observation. Doctors have known for a very long time that the livers of cancer patients really struggle to process ammonia. But that key question was still just hanging there. Was the ammonia buildup simply a consequence of the disease, or was it actively making things worse? So, to finally get an answer, researchers at Rutgers designed a really clever experiment using mice. They wanted to isolate this one variable, ammonia processing, to see if it truly was a driver of the cancer and not just a symptom. They had 2 groups of mice with liver tumors. In one group, the liver's ammonia processing system was left totally normal, but in the other group, they used gene editing to basically shut that system down. And the results? Well, they were just staggering. The mice that couldn't process ammonia had much higher levels of it, they developed significantly larger tumors, and they died much, much faster. This was the first really clear piece of evidence that high ammonia levels were directly causing worse outcomes. And here is the brilliant and honestly terrifying discovery. The cancer wasn't just thriving in an environment that was high in ammonia, it was actively using the ammonia. The researchers found that the tumor cells were literally siphoning off the excess ammonia and using it to build the things they need to grow and multiply. The toxin wasn't just a byproduct, it had become fuel. If you're finding this kind of detailed breakdown of scientific research valuable, we'd like to invite you to join our community. If you take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications, you'll be sure not to miss any of our future explainers. Okay, so if excess ammonia from protein is fuel for the fire, the next logical question is, well, can we cut off the fuel supply? This led the researchers to test a remarkably simple idea. They took those mice with the impaired livers and simply fed them a low-protein diet. By cutting back on the protein coming in, they cut back on the amount of ammonia being made. And the effect was dramatic. Tumor growth slowed way down, and the mice survived much longer. They were, in effect, starving the tumor of one of its key fuels. Now, this is a groundbreaking finding, but it is absolutely critical that we translate this from mice to humans carefully and responsibly. This does not mean everyone should run out and stop eating protein. The context here is everything.
So let's break down the key points. First, this whole thing really only applies to people whose livers are already damaged and can't process ammonia correctly. If you have a healthy liver, it can handle the ammonia from a high-protein diet just fine. Second, a lot of cancer patients are actually told to eat more protein to keep their muscle mass up during treatment. And that leads to the most important takeaway of all. Any big dietary change must be discussed with your doctor to figure out the specific risks and benefits for your situation.
But for the right patient, someone with impaired liver function whose body is really struggling to clear ammonia, this study offers a promising new perspective. Just as the lead researcher suggests, in those very specific cases, just reducing protein could be a powerful and straightforward way to get those dangerous ammonia levels down.
This research really leaves us with a powerful final thought. It shows beautifully that by understanding the exact metabolic tricks a cancer uses to grow, we might find that some of the best interventions aren't always complex new drugs, but maybe, just maybe, they're elegant, simple changes to what we put on our plates. If you found this explainer enlightening, please press the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. To help us continue producing independent science communication, please do consider the support link in the description.